Today marks 20 years since Manchester United agreed to takeovers in Premier League history. The Glazer family stake in the club with a leveraged buyout, a phrase synonymous with the Americans since 2005.
Fans protested against the leveraged takeover but were offered little support, and the toxicity has had a lasting impact. The first time the Glazer family visited Old Trafford, in June 2005, they paid a visit to the megastore. Outside, hundreds of furious Manchester United fans turned up with banners and placards, shouted slogans such as "Die Glazer Die," and a few clashed with police. Inside, the Glazers were doing a spot of, and here we must stretch the word to its broadest possible definition. Shopping for Joel, Avram and Brian had no intention of doing anything quite as undignified as parting with their own cash. Instead, they swarmed the aisles, scooped up armfuls of replica shirts and merchandise, which shop staff dutifully ran through the tills and bagged up. When the time came to leave, the Glazers simply took the bags and left. This was, after all their own property, theirs to take and use as they pleased. And as a metaphor for how they intended to run Manchester United over the next 20 years, it is about as good as any. Sir Bobby Charlton would later apologize to the Glazers for the hostile reception they received from fans on their first visit. David Gill, the chief executive who had initially resisted the takeover, was the man who greeted them at their car, smoothed the transition, and was rewarded with a doubling of his salary. Sir Alex Ferguson, perhaps the one figure capable of stopping the takeover dead in its tracks, repeatedly refused to do so, telling a bunch of disgruntled fans on a trip to Budapest to go and support Chelsea if they were dissatisfied with the way United were being run. The Labour government, deep in election mode, refused to scrutinise the takeover despite the urging of many of its own MPs. And for all the diligent reporting of the takeover in many sections of the press, there were also plenty of journalists happy to take the inside line in return for a stream of Glazer PR. All of which serves, 2 decades on, as a reminder that for all their single-minded brazenness, the Glazers did not act alone. On the contrary, at every turn they were abetted by the pliant and the opportunistic, the spineless and the unprincipled. Dissent, whether from outraged fans or concerned directors, was either ignored or extinguished. Contrary to common belief, the Glazers did invest a little of their own money in buying United, much of it raised through refinancing of their retail property empire.